Latest in Greyhound Fieldnotes, data jurisdiction tensions in a GCC cloud migration. For the uninitiated, Greyhound Fieldnotes are insights based on advisory engagements that Greyhound Research delivers to enterprise clients across the globe, capturing the technology and business decisions leaders are making in real time. The client. Country: United Arab Emirates, Dubai. Industry: vertical, financial services. Roles: Group CIO, Chief Compliance Officer, and Regional COO. Engagement type: private advisory on cloud infrastructure strategy. Company size: $5 to $6 billion in annual revenue, with operations across GCC and South Asia. Technology budget: $200 to $250 million. Topic of inquiry: navigating a sovereignty-compliant cloud transformation without vendor lock-in. The inquiry: we need to migrate core workloads to the cloud, but how do we retain jurisdictional control without getting boxed into a single vendor's compliance narrative? This question emerged at the close of a multi-quarter digital governance initiative, one shaped as much by central banking oversight as by internal pressure from board risk committees. The client's executive leadership had grown wary of compliance black boxes, contractual obligations that deferred control to hyperscalers while leaving liability with the enterprise. What's at stake is not merely operational continuity. It's their legal license to function across multiple sovereign jurisdictions. In particular, tensions surfaced around intra-GCC data transfers and the potential for regulatory shutdowns if controls over compute locality, data movement, and access governance were found inadequate. In other words, the cloud was no longer just a scalability issue. It had become a fiduciary fault line. Greyhound Standpoint. Greyhound Research sees this inquiry as part of a wider pattern of cloud recalibration in policy-sensitive industries. According to the Greyhound CIO Pulse 2025, 68% of financial services CIOs across EMEA are re-evaluating their cloud contracts to insert sovereignty audit clauses, while 41% cite external regulator pressure as the primary trigger for these reviews. Notes from another Greyhound Fieldnote confirm this shift. A Southeast Asian payments firm, while expanding across ASEAN markets, implemented a data and compute sovereignty heat map, a dynamic tool that overlays vendor infrastructure disclosures against local regulations. This empowered both the risk office and technology leadership to co-sign off on regional deployments. Insights drawn from a separate Greyhound Fieldnote echo this concern. A Nordic reinsurance conglomerate embedded compute rollback rights into its hyperscaler contracts after a near miss during a pan-European audit. The clause allowed workloads to be force migrated to the private cloud on regulatory demand, a feature now table stakes for their board. Greyhound Advisory. At Greyhound Research, we believe cloud modernization in regulated economies must be framed not as a technology project, but as a policy dialogue in motion. Our guidance to CXOs is fivefold. 1/shift from provider trust to contractual proof. Assume regulatory conditions will change mid-contract. Pre-negotiate mechanisms that let you demonstrate, not just promise compliance on demand. 2/design for regulatory duality. In GCC markets, compliance isn't binary. It must address both national regulation and Sharia-aligned digital ethics. Your infrastructure must serve both legal and cultural legitimacy. 3/implement workload anchoring. Use logical controls, not just regional data centers, to anchor critical workloads in jurisdictions with stable legal frameworks. This includes encryption key locality, admin access boundaries, and adjudication clauses. 4/ involve the risk office early. Don't let cloud decisions stay siloed in IT. Bring compliance and risk teams into infrastructure planning as co-owners, not reviewers. Sovereignty is now a board-level risk category. 5/ scenario test geopolitical rupture. Ask, what happens to our workloads if data flows between GCC states are restricted overnight? Cloud strategy must include pre-built escape plans, both technical and legal. If this sounds familiar, if this is a conversation already happening in your boardroom, or one that's been circling without resolution, let's talk. We at Greyhound Research are advising technology leaders across industries on how to navigate this tension between agility and jurisdictional accountability. Reach out if you'd like to explore what a responsible, resilient cloud strategy could look like for your enterprise. Or simply share this note with a peer, client, or partner who you think needs to read it. These aren't just technical decisions anymore. They're decisions about who you are as an organization and how you want to be seen. Analyst in focus, Sanchit Gogia. Sanchit Gogia, or SVG as he is popularly known, is a globally recognized technology analyst, innovation strategist, digital consultant, and board advisor. SVG is the chief analyst, founder and CEO of Greyhound Research, a global, award-winning technology research, advisory, consulting, and education firm. Greyhound Research works closely with global organizations, their CXOs, and the board of directors on technology and digital transformation decisions. SVG is also the founder and CEO of the House of Greyhound, an eclectic venture focusing on interdisciplinary innovation. Copyright policy. All content contained on the Greyhound Research website is protected by copyright law and may not be reproduced, distributed, transmitted, displayed, published, or broadcast without the prior written permission of Greyhound Research or, in the case of third-party materials, the prior written consent of the copyright owner of that content. You may not alter, delete, obscure, or conceal any trademark, copyright, or other notice appearing in any Greyhound Research content. We request our readers not to copy Greyhound Research content and not republish or redistribute them, in whole or partially, via emails or republishing them in any media, including websites, newsletters, or intranets. We understand that you may want to share this content with others, so we've added tools under each content piece that allow you to share the content. If you have any questions, please get in touch with our community relations team at connect@thofker.com.